So today I watched James Mansfield's wig recreation of Cruella de Vil. 1 minute. This lighting is homophobic. Let me. Excuse me. Seashell, wake up. What are you doing? Is that better? It's not like the comment section's gonna tell me anything, but... So, I watched the review of James Mansfield doing the wig creation of Cruella, and it got me thinking about Maleficent, and Disney villains in general, and the origin stories. And I just want to talk about it because, even though it's not Drag Race related, I feel like this channel... I just want to talk about it. So, trigger warning. This will include the R word. So if you are a victim of sexual assault, please do not watch this video. And have a great day. So... Maleficent was one of the worst live-action Disney movies I've ever seen. And it wasn't because of the acting, it wasn't because of the stars that they had in it, it was the storytelling. I'm not going to provide a plot synopsis, you guys need to watch it yourself to really get where I'm coming at, but I am going to talk about what I think could have been done differently. When they announced that they were doing Maleficent, I thought, oh great, we're going to see the origin story of Maleficent, and then I heard it was going to be a darker retelling of Sleeping Beauty from Maleficent's point of view, and I'm like, that's even better. We get to see, like, why she did what she did. And then I watched the movie, and it was trash. I think that they could have changed it by doing this, and I'm going to explain my little plot things. First off, the first movie should not have been a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. I think they needed to start with Maleficent's backstory, and that make a whole movie out of it. We really didn't get to see the Fae universe, that's what I'm calling it, the fairies, the Fae, F-A-E, universe, that much in the movie, or the bog, rather, as they call it, because of the fact that the opening went like that. So, let me just say that I think we needed to start with Maleficent, and all of these unfortunate events are happening to her. Not only that, but the fairies, the three fairies in the bog, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, or, they're not called that in the movie, but I'm gonna call them that, because... fuck you, Disney, you fucked up your universe. Basically being, like, bullies of Maleficent. They see, like, a darkness in her and don't want her with the other fairies, so they treat her differently. Except for Merryweather, the blue one. Now, I know in the Maleficent she was green. Listen, I'm going off of the original story in the original cartoon. Merryweather is... the nicest of the three. Maybe because she's also the youngest. Flora's the oldest, Fauna's the second oldest, and then Merryweather. Each of them controls a different aspect of things. Flora, the pink one, controls the flowers, Fauna controls the wildlife, and Merryweather controls the weather. They don't really know what Maleficent is, so they're not going to talk to her because they don't really know what she is. Turns out she's a dark fae who probably controls some sort of magic that they can't understand. She also has the wings. And it goes through, like, some minor conflict between the castles, the human world, and the fae world. It shows that conflict more descript. And this one doesn't really have to include Angelina Jolie, or Imelda Stanton, or Juno Temple, or I forget the other actress's name. It doesn't have to include them because they are not present in this retelling. It could be a younger version of all three of these. The only people that we would need to include are the king, a queen, somebody like that. Maleficent grows up, and we could include Angelina Jolie in this if they wanted a big name actress. And as she grows up, her powers get stronger. She learns to fly. It's all this sort of stuff. The fairies start to fear her a little bit, but then keep her around because she's boss at destroying the cavalry that try to come in and kill the Fae, which that could be an ongoing thing. She ends up falling in love with one of the soldiers. Turns out it's the prince. They fall in love and have like a forbidden Romeo and Juliet style relationship. And at the end of the movie, he drugs her and allegorically rapes her by cutting off her wings. Deflowers her in some way that she didn't want to happen. And at the end of the movie, she grows all dark, and that's where we see Maleficent's true evil come out. Up until this point, you've seen glimpses of it. Like, maybe she's fought too long with one of the soldiers, like, completely decimating him. And I know it's a kid's movie, like, hitting him up against a wall and then disintegrating him. And everybody's like, yo, you're taking it too far. And she apologizes. We could see, like, little glimpses into the darkness. But after she is, like, set up to, after this happens to her, it becomes more about revenge and not about, and that's when the darkness fully consumes her. And that's where the first movie ends. The second movie, Mistress of Evil, could then take place when they announce that they're having the baby. Dieval, who I would have put in the first movie as sort of like a person that she helps out to begin with, as a kid, like a raven that gets caught in something that later becomes her familiar. We don't need him to be a man. It's just her familiar. Informs her of this, and she's not invited to the party because of the deflowering, and also because the king is a douchebag. But the three fairies are, because there's something involving the fairies that maybe he was going to kill them, but turns out that, since they're the good fairies, he thinks they can use their magic to learn more about them so that they can kill them. So the three fairies come in and are bestowing their gifts, and Maleficent crashes the party, goes, hey, yo, that's not cool, your baby's gonna die. And the reason she curses the baby is that is what he loves the most at the moment, is the baby. And Merryweather, who's always been kind of the nice one, is the one that does the sleep thing. Because in the original movie, you'll remember that Maleficent does the death thing, and then she does the sleep thing. And I don't think that that's correct. I think that it would create more conflict if it was in the original story that Merryweather did that. Because we could have Maleficent go back, and we see a tender side of her where it's like, well, shit, I just cursed a baby. I took out my anger in the wrong way. But I'm not going to do anything about it because he deserves it. He did something to me, so I'm going to do something to him. And Merryweather's like, I get where you're coming from. I would have done it too, but what you did to the child is not cool. So Merryweather undoes the curse a little bit, and we cut to them having to raise the baby, and that's where the slapstick could come in. Because in the original, the three fairies were just dumb. But we could have them actually be competent, and basically Merryweather taking charge of the baby, while the other two are kind of the slapstick ones. And when Aurora grows up, she meets Maleficent, who recognizes her as the baby, but starts to grow a soft spot for her because they keep on talking. We could still have the Aurora Maleficent plot development, but it's like, well, crap. I just cursed this person and I love them now because they are the only one that will talk to me from the Fae, because all of the Fae has rejected her at this point because of what she did to a fucking baby. She still thinks that she's gonna die. And the fairies don't really find out about Maleficent. talking with her. And so when the time comes, she does the whole Once Upon a Dream thing. They go to the castle, and the king basically douchebags himself and throws her into the little thing and locks her in a room out of her safety, but again, he's a douchebag. And we could still have the fight between Maleficent and the king, which results in the king's death, because we have the main antagonist now. But I think it would be more climactic if she runs up to save Aurora and kisses her and nothing happens. And the prince has to undo the curse, and she runs out of the thing, and the prince hasn't undone the curse yet, but the guards are chasing her. And so as self-defense, she turns into the dragon. Because I feel like she should have turned into the dragon. That's just me. And at the very... And one of, like, the plot twists could be her kiss actually did work, and it wakes up Aurora, who then breaks the chains on the wings, and as Maleficent is being stabbed by one of the guards and dies, she reverts back to her human form, and the wings clip onto her, and she goes falling down the ravine. And it's like oh crap, we just killed Maleficent, and Aurora feels really guilty about it. And so she basically celebrates the Fae, gives birth to a girl herself, and at the very end, nothing changes. I feel like the second film was a lot more fun than the first one, because it really wasn't a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. It had Michelle Pfeiffer in it, but at the same time, this retelling is more accurate to the source material it's based off of, but also I feel like would provide a better story than what we got provided in the actual movies. So with this new Cruella's one of the biggest baddies in the Disney canon. I mean, she wants to murder puppies. If you're going to try to make her sympathetic, it is going to be difficult. So I hope they're not going with the sympathetic route. But at the same time, it seems like it's going to be all about fashion, that it's going to include, her fashion starting out in fashion, and then at the end eyeing the puppies, maybe, I don't know. We have to have the Cruella de Vil thing in there somehow. I just hope that this doesn't bomb like Maleficent did, because I really want to see this done to other Disney villains. I think it would be cool to see how Ursula got her start. I think it would be cool to see how, I know that they're not going to do Ursula or Scar or anybody like that, but, I wish that we could have seen that, because it could provide some ounce of sympathy when you actually look at the story, rather than them just being a bad guy. So, I'm going to leave you with that. I love you guys. I will talk to you probably next week, though I really don't want to cover the quarantine thing of Drag Race, unless I have to. So, bye guys.